Well, it was a cold, wet and windy Saturday, Indy, but we saw some great football, of course, and fantastic to get out to the grounds and see everyone rugging up and getting under shelter. Tonight's show, well, my name is Tony Neal. I'm joined by Indy Rogers, and what have we got on tonight for all the viewers out there, Indy?
Well, tonight, Phil Herden once again is going to be giving his weekly roundup of the men's and women's results across all of the divisions in the Adelaide Footy League. We've got two separate division specialist coverages tonight. We got Division 7 with this man right here, Tony Neal, and also Division 4 coverage, courtesy of Tim Pillion. Also, who is going to be the coach of the week from Division 1? We'll find out on the show, and Tommy Javor will also be going into further detail on some of the Division 1 results with his weekly Division 1 wrap.
Well, we have awards aplenty. Of course, the Archie songs and the beanies are going off like hotcakes on a Saturday, and people are absolutely loving them and going out and giving them out now on interviews and everything. So thank you to Archie's and to Dartfish for the thongs and beanies. We look at the goals and the marks. I'll tell you what, that's getting better and better as the season goes on. And some of the marks we see in wet weather, we saw a couple on Saturday, just fantastic and great skill by the players. We go around the league, hear a bit of news, what's going on around the place. And I've also headed up to Houghton, and I found my way up there. Fantastic little club up there, and I'll tell you what, they've got a big community of supporters up there for Division 7, and we chatted with a few people up there, and we did a great coach interview with KB, he tells me to call him, so g'day KB, and keep an eye out for that interview, and plenty more coming up on the show.
And welcome to Div 1 Weekly Wrap with TJ on a beautiful winter's Sunday afternoon at Roberts Palace. Might go for a dip in the pool. Unlucky for some round 13, well, it was pretty good footy. It wasn't unlucky to watch, that's for sure. Let's have a look at this week's results, stats and everything Div 1 related. The Stream team, well, we were out for the grand final rematch, Port Adelaide and PAC. And PAC, they were too good. A 34-point win, Port 6-7, PAC 11-11. Let's have a look at the player in focus. It's the coach, number 4, Craig Pitt. A humble man. He doesn't give himself best players. He doesn't put himself in the plaudits. We've probably overlooked him a few times this year, but we didn't miss him this week. He had 20 touches at 80%. One of the most impressive stats for him, as the sun just comes out roaring into my face, handball efficiency, 100%. That's perfect. He cut him open. He took 5 marks, but structurally, his direction setting up behind the ball was a big play. For once, I saw Port District out-structured, and that was a catalyst to PAC getting the 24-point win. The goal scorers for Port, James Bailey had a bit of a purple patch. He kicked 3 early ones, whilst for PAC, the Reds, it was Ollie Clark and T-Bone Brazel with 3 apiece. As usual, the Stream Team game brings all sorts of awards, so let me start repping through them. I gave my Archie's award for thongs to the captain, Lachlan McNamara. Thought he had a good, consistent game. Again, he's in that midfield mix and doesn't always get the plaudits. The Moseley Voucher Best Team player I gave to Jordan Neal. A really impressive game in ruck. He was the dominant big man, and he led to a hit-out ascendancy of 37 more hit-outs. It was a great game by the big blonde fella. The Nary Miles Mouthguard Player of the Day, awarded by Phil, was to Cam Wildman for a wonderful goal. Wonderful to watch, not wonderful to hear Cameron describe it. He talked it right down, but a really good goal early in the day. And the best on ground New Balance voucher, so the New Balance voucher and Dartfish beanie, and he's wearing it in the photos. Well done to Captain Craig Pitt, who also gave us a great insight. Before we look at the votes, let's just have a look at some of the team stats. And again, the hit-outs. What a game by Jordy Neal. 48 hit-outs and leading the ascendancy 56-19 in the team stats. The area they got him in, and gee, it was a good game of footy, really good game of footy. You never know with these two teams. 40 more effective handballs. Now, that's on the back of Andrew Bradley and Craig Pitt. 15 handballs between them at 100% efficiency. They were able to, I don't know if you want to call it a frontal handball, a release handball, a forward handball, but their handball chain that they created with their beautiful lace-out hands just lit the game up and was able to open up Port District's attack. In the end, it was 22 scoring shots to 13. PAC too good. They look to go one better this year, and they might. The Roll the Dice Player of the Year awards. Let's have a look. Special mention to some guys that missed out as well. I always get very nervous doing these. I know there's a lot on the line, and we've got no access to stats or anything, so I was absolutely rapt to go and read the stats and see how close I got to. Statistically, was backed up in some of my selections. Neil, 48 hit-outs, great game. Cooper Gaffney, Port. I've got a man crush on this guy. 31 touches. He is a driving force off halfback for Port. But the three people we gave the votes to, one vote, Jack Trengrove, PAC, 32 touches. He just did Jack Trengrove things. I loved his game. Could have been best, arguably. Andrew Bradley, 23 touches. Again, 100% handball efficiency, deadly in the middle, and was the real recipient of a lot of the Neil hitouts. And Craig Pitt just loved his game, his direction. A great on-field coaching game. Well done to PAC. They sit top, and they'll be hard to stop. On to our next games. No surprise in this one. Probably thought it'd be a bigger margin. Sacred Heart, 9 goals 9. Old Iggy's 2 goals 3. A 48-point win there to the Shockers. Best on ground was number 4 for Sacred Heart. That's Seb Kerrish. He had a nice 25 touches, not a bad day's work, and went at 84%. That's Hayden Jolly type levels. He also bobbed up for 11 marks. So he basically controlled the game, controlled the air. Well done, Seb Kerrish. Got a chance to look at him last week for the first time. He's a very good footballer. Goal kickers for Sacred Heart. It was Lauby with 3 and Ned with the bleeding head. Ned Brooks, 2 goals. For Iggy's, well, Will Ferrari, he finds a way to get one through the sticks every week, and Jasper Davies. For the team stats, again, it's a pretty one-sided game, so nothing too surprising here. All Sacred Heart here with 84 more touches, 30 more marks, inside 50s 2-1, 30-15, and 33 more hitouts. The votes all went to Sacred Heart. 1 vote, Beau McRae, the blonde bombshell. 2 votes, Darcy Gloyes, young former Glenelg Jr., and best on ground, that man, Seb Kerrish. Our next game was the closest game of the round, I think. I haven't really checked that stat. Yes, it was. It was a 15-point win to the Broadview Tigers, where accuracy proved key. Broadview 11-9-74, Brighton 8-11-59. Both these teams striving to steal 5th spot from Tea Tree Gully. The player in focus is number 33 from Broadies, Jay O'Leary. He had 18 touches at 72%. Some clearances, a couple of them, 4 tackles, contested marks and a smother. That's what he does when he gets the ball. He gets the ball and he hits that pace, gets to top pace, and he breaks the lines and does it beautifully. Well done to Jay O'Leary. The goal kickers, a pretty good spread there for Broadview, with the only people to get multiples were Carlisle and that man Ralph. Okay, for Brighton, Wellesby, he keeps kicking goals every week. He is a good target. He kicked 4. Team-wise, statistically, Broadview controlled all the following areas. They had 40 more effective touches, 27 more marks, 21 of those uncontested, 11 more tackles, 6 more clearances, and 26 more hit-outs. And the reason they had 26 more hit-outs was we moved to the Roll the Dice Player of the Year. One of the reasons would have been this man, big Logan McKinnon Collins from Broadies, a centre-half forward come ruckman. Man with 2 votes. What a season he's putting together. I think this is the 5th, maybe 6th time he's polled. He always gets in the votes, just about. Nigel Osborne, former Crows mascot, if you like, from Brighton. And Jay O'Leary, the aforementioned. He was best with 3 votes, putting together quite a nice season. Our 4th game was also a close game, and for me was the surprise one. I said it'd go either way. This is the only one I got wrong this week. Goodwood 9-13-67. Too good for Tea Tree Gully in the end, 7-9-51. Interestingly enough, best on ground didn't come from the winning team, but it's that man, Blake Penny, who does a very good horse. That's trying to win one, and he's going well. 14 touches, 13 kicks. So he gets a lot of them out of the ruck. 6 clearances as well. So the best clearance player on the ground, 3 big spoils and 34 hitouts. The dominant big man on the ground. Spoke to the commentators. They were really confident this was the right selection. So well done to Big Ticky Penny. But it was Goodwood that were too good on the back of James Rignall kicking 3 and 50 Shades of Ryan Gray kicking 2. No multiple goal kickers for Tea Tree Gully, interestingly enough. So probably that's where the problem lied for them. Other statistical stats things as a team, looking at it, Goodwood Saints, 29 more touches, probably just got their hands on the ball a little bit more, 10 more marks and 15 more tackles. When they hunt, and they hunt well, we've seen them draw with PAC and we've seen them knock off Tea Tree Gully. They're still a very dangerous team. I wouldn't just yet put a line through them for finals this year. Let's look at our Player of the Year votes. It was from Goodwood, Arian Serene with 1 vote. 2 votes to Luke Brown again. So the 2 main best on grounds are from the losing team. Luke Brown had 30 touches and was outstanding. I'm quite confident that that's the right choice. And that man, Blake Tickets Penny, he stands out. He's a character. 3 votes best on ground, Tea Tree Gully. Big win for Goodwood. They just stay in the hunt and they probably wave bye-bye to the relegation zone. One team that hasn't waved bye-bye to the relegation zone, as a matter of fact, I think they're taking a little bit of ownership of it, is Sacred Sacred Heart. Sorry, Sacred Heart, you're doing just fine. St. Peter's, 3 goals, 321. Glenunga, 12-13, 85. No real surprise there. 64-point win to Glenunga. Our player in focus is number 14 from Glenunga. Big Papa Roach, Nick Wunke. Is he slowly becoming the best Wunke? He's playing some good footy, though. Let's have a look at Roachy's stats. 28 touches at 71%. He also went by 100% by hand. 10 handballs. All of them hit the target. Really important as a big man in the middle. If you're hitting the target with those handballs, you're creating the stoppages, you're winning at the source, you're winning the clearances. Well done, Big Roach. 18 hit-outs, 4 clearances, and 10 marks. He's taken some good clunks this year. Well done, Nick. Goal kickers for Spocky. They did have a multiple goal kicker in Brett Russell. He bobs up a fair bit. For Glenunga, Abe Davis kicked a couple. He's hard to stop. Tommy Boyan, the in and under crumbing forward, kicked a couple. And Big Stevie Prosser kicked 2. He's having a good year, Big Steve. Team stats now. Couldn't do my team stats without the Dartfish analytics. Love the Dartfish analytics on a Sunday morning. The one that stands out, I didn't need the analytics for this one. Scoring shots 25-6. You're not going to win a game of footy unless you kick 6 straight with those stats. 66 more effective disposals to Glenunga. They just pepper it inside their 50 and they keep it locked in. 57-23 inside 50s and 21 more hit-outs. It wasn't just Nick Wunke and Ruck, but he was beautifully supported by types of, your Darcy Mitchells. Abe Davis gets in there as well, and a few other men come third man up. They do a really good job there. All right, the Roller Dice Player of the Year votes. Absolutely rapt to see this guy in the votes. 1 vote, Sam Smith, coming off multiple knee injuries, playing his best footy now. He'll play a key defensive post. He's a star of a human being and a very good footballer. 2 votes, Abe Davis. He's just starting to think about taking that shirt off and riding that horse bareback down Henley Beach. Maybe leave it to the trainers, Abe. And Nick Wunke, the aforementioned best on ground. All right, it's getting to the business end of the year, round 13, so there's a couple of other things. Now, I think we've got one more week where we'll show you the votes, and then we stop showing you the votes. I'm not sure what we're going to do, actually. I think that was the rumour. So let me take you through the leaderboard for the Player of the Year, $7,500 worth of racehorse. I own a racehorse. Hopefully yours is better than mine. All right, sitting on 10 votes in equal fourth, I guess you'd say, Nigel Osborne, Alex Collotto, and Sam Gray. Sitting in third on 11 votes, Chris Curran, that PAC superstar. And 13 votes, second place, Blake's Tickets Penny. 1 best on ground behind that man, Abe Davis. Let's take a look at the ladder now. Not a lot of changes, but a lot of interesting things happening, more towards the middle and bottom of the ladder. So PAC sit comfortably on top. You dare say they just about more or less have sewn up a double chance. Probably a week off in the first week of finals if they keep playing the way they do. Glenunga and Shock, well, they've opened up just a slight gap. Not just Shock being a game ahead of Port District, but the percentage as well. So it's theirs to lose from here, and with the results, next week's games will tell a lot. And in 5th place, Tea Tree Gully, with less wins than losses on 6 wins, but have a good percentage break over both Brighton and Broadies, who are hunting. And as I said, don't forget about Goodwood. Spock and Old Iggy's, well, they're going to be very dangerous in Div 2 next year. Let's have a look at this week's games. And our Game of the Round Stream Team game, well, this is where we find out just how good Shock are. They've been very, very good lately. They take on the cream of the crop. They take on PAC at Park 9. This will be a huge game. I think PAC play good dry with the footy, but Shock have got so many strong big men. Collotto, Ned Brooks, Tappy, Brad Noble. So, that'll be a great matchup. Probably the one area PAC don't have is a lot of big men, but on the ground, they're near on unstoppable. I'll take PAC with no certainty. Old Iggy's and Spock. Old Iggy's only win came over a points discrepancy this year. Can they get their first win against Spock? They're at home. There'll be a chance, but I expect Spock to be too strong. Brighton versus Port. Brighton get Port on the rebound after a couple of losses. Port were pretty good on the weekend, despite losing. They lost to a very good team. I'd expect Port to bounce back. Glenunga and Goodwood. Goodwood are probably a 5-goal better team at home. Unfortunately, this one's at Glenunga, so it's Glenunga for mine. And Tea Tree Gully and Broadies. What a mouth-watering matchup this is. This is about 2 teams fighting for that spot in the 5. I actually commentated this game the first time around, and there was a bit of heat. There was certainly a bit of heat in the kitchen, on and off the field. Plenty of words being spent. A bit of filth, flour and filth being thrown around. And Alex Boss McKay as well, when Gullies were 6 goals up, just showing the Brighton crowd there, I think it might have been Ladies' Day, and just showing him the ball as he ran into open goal. Broadies nearly pinched it. So there'll be a bit of heat in that one, I reckon. It'll be a really good game. I'm envious of the commentator that gets that one. Cracking contest at Pertaringa with the cars parked around, the horns going off every time Alex McKay, Luke Brown and Tickets Penny get a goal. I dare say Gullies might just pinch it and maybe start locking away that final spot. Couldn't ask for a better, beautiful Sunday afternoon. Couldn't ask for a better Div 1 competition. It's hotting up. We're getting to the business end. This is TJ. Stay tuned for more Between the Posts.
It's time to take a look at our weekly winner of Coach of the Week, who will be getting a bottle of Shiraz as well as some Cab Sav here. Tony, who is the winner coming from Division 1 this week for Coach of the Week?
Well, it's Craig Pitt from Prince Alfred Old Collegians, Division 1, selected by, should we dob him in, Adam Jeffries. No, he does a great job and supplies us with the Farmers Leap wine. And the reason why, I think we need to acknowledge and give Craig Pitt from PAC the Coach of the Week for round 13. Huge win away at Port District, so this was interesting, and a reversal of the round 4 loss, being a replay of the grand final, of course, at home to District. And it's their only loss for the season. Everyone knows that PAC have some great players and they are heavy favourites to win Division 1 this year. We seem to be saying that every year with them. But with that comes, and this is a very important side of coaching, player management, management of expectations, and keeping motivated week to week. Craig looks like he's across it all, and they've been most impressive this year. They will take some stopping, so congratulations, Craig Pitt.
Spillett, and thanks to O'Neill Sportswear. Welcome to the weekend wrap. A look at all the A-grade men's results, ladders and upcoming big games across the Adelaide Footy League for Saturday, July the 22nd. Let's start off with the CMAX Clinical Research Division 7, where Ingle Farm entrenched their hold on top position with a massive win at Roe Park over Hackham, 186 points. Mitchell Park moved into the 5 with a 22-point win at home over Mawson Lakes. Para Hills stayed top 2, and Flinders University dropped out of the 5. The Hills with a 31-point win. And OSB Lonsdale jumped into 3rd at Houghton District's expense with a 2-goal win at home. Let's have a look at the ladder. Ingle Farm a game ahead of Para Hills. They're the top 2. 3 games back to now OSB Lonsdale, a game ahead of Houghton. They look pretty comfortable. Those 4 are playing finals. Then, game and a half back to Mitchell Park in the 5, I think for the first time this season. Flinders University, they've just dropped out. Hackham and Mawson Lakes are battling to avoid the Atlas position. The biggest game next week in the CMAX Clinical Research Division 7 will be Houghton hosting Mitchell Park. That's 4th, hosting 5th. On to the O'Neill Sportswear Division 6, where we have seen some big results, and they were certainly when Adelaide Lutheran thumped Farmer Lodge and Rosewater did the same to Smithfield. In some other games, Green Acres beat Fitzroy by 28 points to keep pace with Marion, who also won by a big margin, 148 points over St. Paul's. It was closer at Moffin Reserve, Century United going down to Salisbury by 11 points. That's Division 6. Some close ones, a lot of big ones. The ladder, Marion half a game ahead of Green Acres. Then it drops 2 games back to Salisbury. Tied with Fitzroy, that comes down to percentage at the moment. Those 4 are finals bound. Adelaide Lutheran, Central United and Rosewater, the 3 Bulldog teams, are battling for 1 final spot. St. Paul's, well, they're just trying to avoid relegation. Those 2 positions can't go across. The big games this week for Salisbury and Fitzroy, 3rd versus 4th. The winner gets the inside track on the double chart. Adelaide Lutheran, Central United, that's 5th versus 6th. The winner gets the inside running on a top 5 spot. And Smithfield, well, they host St. Paul's, that's 9th versus 8th. If St. Paul's get up, then they've got a really good chance of avoiding relegation this season. That's O'Neill Sportswear Division 6. On to the O'Neill Sports Clinic Division 5, and here Colonel Light Gardens maintain their position high on the ladder. 44-point win over Blackfriars. Eastern Park, this one shaking up relegation, defeating Elizabeth at Agana Park by 8 points. Jeps Cross remain undefeated, but also close by Trinity. The Rams getting up by 5 points at home. Pulteney defeated Woodville South by 14, so there's 3 close results on the day. Not so close at Blair Athol Reserve. The Chicks of Kilburn taking care of West Croydon by 73 points. The ladder, there's Jeps Cross all alone, unbeaten, with Kilburn a game behind and a massive percentage. Colonel Light Gardens sit in third. They're in a bit of no man's land, to be honest. They sit 3 games back of Kilburn and 2 games ahead of Trinity. So looks like Colonel Light Gardens have got third spot wrapped up. Trinity, despite the loss, well, they're 7-6 now, involved in a finals battle with West Croydon and Pulteney tied at 6-7. Then it drops 2 games back, and it's 4 teams to avoid 2 relegation spots. Elizabeth, with their poor percentage, are vulnerable, even with 1 more win. Blackfriars just a slightly better percentage than Woodville South. And even Eastern Park have moved into the mix now. With their 2nd win, they are just a decent win away from safety. And they might well get their chance. In Division 5 this week, Eastern Park host Blackfriars. A big win there to the Demons. They might jump the Cats and Blackfriars out of 10th into safety for the moment. Colonel Light Gardens and Kilburn's going to be a massive match as third host 2nd. And West Croydon and Pulteney, that's 5th versus 6th, to see who has the inside run in the finals. A big weekend coming up ahead in the Wakefield Sports Clinic Division 5. For the 9 News Division 4, and here we had our first, a draw, Plympton and Walkerville. That really helped the Bulldogs, didn't really help the Cats. I'll show you how that impacted the ladder in a sec. Morphy Parks officially relegated Portland with a 67-point win at home. Mitcham, the other relegation candidate, trying to stay alive. They beat Lockleys by 4 points in an upset. CBC Old Collegians moved closer to the league leadership with a 41-point win over Kenilworth. And in another upset, the Hounds of Hectorville defeated Paraka by 27 points at Daily Oval. The ladder, Paraka and CBC Old Collegians now tied at the top 10 and 3. It drops 2.5 games to Plympton. That with that draw, just rises to third. Then it's Lockleys, Morphy Parks and Hectorville 7-6, and Walkerville with the loss drop out of the 5 to 7. Kenilworth half a game back. Yes, it's 1.5 wins between 3rd and 8th. Mitcham with the win came within 2 games. Their percentage is okay. They've still got a slight chance of getting to safety. But Portland now 6 games back of safety with only 5 left. The first club to be officially relegated. They will be in Div 5 next season. Some cracking contests here in the 9 News Division 4 coming up this weekend. Walkerville and Hectorville, that's 7th versus 6th. Lockleys and Morphy Parks is 4th versus 5th. Kenilworth can probably seal Mitcham's fate with relegation as 8th. They'll be hosting the Hawks, who are 9th. And the game of the round, no doubt, Paraka and CBC Old Collegians is 1st versus 2nd. The winner will take top spot next Saturday night in the 9 News Division 4. To Division 3, here Hope Valley, 11-goal winners over Westminster. Gazer are on the scoreboard with premiership points, 46-point winners over Smosh for win number 1 in 2023. Scotch beat Seaton by 11. Only Mercedes, pretty inaccurate, but Modbury plenty of scoring shots as well. The Hawks by 34 points. And Flinders Park beat Pembroke by 27. The ladder in Division 3 at the moment. That win to Modbury put the Hawks in top spot. The Jets dropped to 2nd. Hope Valley, top 3, and Flinders Park again further back. Scotch, with their win, stay in touch. They're in the 5 by half a game from Pembroke, and you can forget about the rest in terms of the final. Seaton has a 2-game and percentage gap from relegation. Smosh are vulnerable. Their percentage of 33 would see them drop below Westminster if the Dragons can find another win. And Gazer, look, they look relegation bound, but it's always good to see that first win on the board. This weekend, Division 3, the top 5 play the bottom 5. The best of the matchups looks to be Pembroke Old Scholars just on the edge of finals. They are hosting the unleashed Mercedes Jets. Breakthrough Mental Health Foundation Division 2, Foss Camden, narrow winners over Henley to entrench a top 3 spot. Golden Grove, 12-goal winners over Rocks to entrench top spot. Panam Norwood Union right behind them, 7-goal winners over Adelaide Uni, who could manage just the 1-goal tie for the day. Edwardstown and Athelston, both teams withdrew their kicking, Edwardstown prevailing by 11. Salisbury North and North Haven was a cracking battle. Magpies almost got the upset, but the Hawks at home getting up by just 2 points. That set Division 2 into 3 separate levels. We've really got now Golden Grove, Payneham and Foss. 2 games between them, that's your top 3. 4 teams, Athelston, Salisbury North, Rocks and Edwardstown. 4 teams for 2 finals berths. Just a win and a tiny bit of percentage between them. Then you've got another 2-game gap to Henley, Adelaide Uni and North Haven. One will survive in Div 2 next year. That's Henley at the moment. Quite a few good games in Div 2 coming up. Rocks hosting Henley 6 versus 8. Foss hosting Salisbury North 3rd versus 5th. North Haven, maybe their last chance, hosting Edwardstown 10 versus 7. Game of the round though is probably at Athelston, where the Raggies 4th host Payneham Norwood 2nd. And that leaves us with Division 1. Here as expected, Sacred Heart, who held Port District to 1 goal last week. Well, they were a bit more merciful this week. Old Nations managed to score 2 goals. Port District, well, they rebounded and kicked 6 at Largs Reserve, but not enough to take care of Prince Alfred College, who managed 11 and a 34-point win for the league leaders. Broadview in a key finals battle beat Brighton at home. Same scoring shots, better accuracy, 15-point win. Woody Saints, 16 points over Tea Tree Gully. That really has tightened the battle for 5th spot. We'll see that as a sec. And Glenunga, as expected, made pretty easy work of Spock. The home side there kicked 3 goals at Carlton Oval. The ladder. Well, it's 3 teams now, separated by 1.5 wins. Prince Alfred still on top from Glenunga and Sacred Heart. Port District with 2 straight losses. They're in 4th. I reckon it's still got a double chance district because their schedule starts to get easier from here. Tea Tree Gully, well, they are a game further back. They're 3 games further back. So it's Gullies, Brighton, Broadview and Goodwood. 1.5 wins between them for 1 final spot. And St. Peter's, well, they would have really seen Goody Saints get up. They're now 2.5, aka 3 wins away from safety. We've only got 5 games left. St. Peter's have got a game against Goody Saints in 2 weeks that will decide, I reckon, the seal St. Peter's fate. And Old Ignatians for mine are pretty much gone. So that's all the results, ladders. The games coming up in Div 1. Old Ignatians host St. Peter's. Brighton host Port District. Glenunga and the Goodwood Saints. Tea Tree Gully, Broadview. 5th versus 7th will be huge. And then our string game will be Prince Alfred first, hosting Sacred Heart of the Legion. That leaves Phil's team of the week. Where did we see some surprises this week? Well, in Div 5, Eastern Park on the bottom beat Elizabeth to give their safe chances a shot. Div 4, a couple of surprises. Hectorville beating Paraka, Mitcham beating Rockland. Div 2, bit of a surprise that the Towns beat the Raggies. Edwardstown over Athelston. And also in Div 1, Goody Saints beating Tea Tree Gully. They're getting a pretty good record at home. But my team of the week, you always remember your first. And it's been a difficult season for Gazer, but they did produce their first win of the season, and they did it in style. Smashing Smosh, West Lakes by 46 points. On being Phil's team of the week. Alrighty, that's a wrap. Thanks to O'Neill Sports for their support. Thank you for watching. And until next weekend's weekend wrap, I hope you enjoy your footy.
Cast of Thousands here for our buddy bet for this week. Vincent Timmy here, and all the shenanigans are happening behind us. Take no notice of them. So after you did your Division 4 wrap, we've decided to do a Division 4 buddy bet for this week. So look, it's an interesting week this week. It's they've got teams right next to each other, all playing each other this week. What are the games this week in Division 4?
So what we've uncovered is, of course, this week 8th versus 9th, Kenilworth versus Mitcham. 6th versus 7th, Hectorville versus Walkerville. 3rd versus, no it's not, it's 4th versus 5th, Lockleys versus Moorfield Park. and then the top two sides, Paraka are playing Seabolt.
Okay, so
we're going
top,
for that.
top of the table clash. Now I know that CBC got over the line earlier in the year at home, so I might actually think that they could do the double here on Paraka. What's your opinion on that one?
Well, Paraka lost last week, an upset, so I think they have to bounce back as top of the table, and it is at Lindblom Park. So Paraka at Paraka for me, they'll split the royalties this year.
So, and then they may meet later in the finals. So that could be the decider. So there you go, folks. We're both I'm taking the away side for this week to do the double, and you're taking the home side to split the difference. We'll see how that one ends up, and we'll be back next week with another buddy bet.
Just hang on a minute there, Vince.
What happened?
Shouldn't we say gamble responsibly as well?
Oh, yeah, we should.
And you forgot about Division 4. What about my Plimpton Bulldogs?
Yeah, well, they're playing the bottom
They're playing the
side.
bottom side.
Okay, well, I wouldn't mind a sure thing. Anyone want to go for Portland? Anyone? Go Bulldogs!
Well, round 13 has been and gone. Division 7, Ingle Farm and Para Hills are right up there, and they are really firing towards a grand final, these two teams. But I'll tell you what, a little bit of shifting on the ladder between O'Sullivan's Beach Lonsdale, who've come up to third, and Houghton Districts, who dropped down to fourth. Only one game between them. And of course, Mitchell Park in fifth position with the draw as well with Mawson Lake. So there's a little bit of a tussle on there, and you go down to Flinders Uni in sixth. So interesting tussle in that middle area of the ladder. Obviously on the weekend, some huge scores, 194 to 8 between Ingle Farm and Hackham, and a couple of the other games a little bit closer, of course, but pretty big blowout there, and Para Hills keep going along their merry way. So really good ding-dong battle. This week coming up, Flinders Uni 6 play Ingle Farm on top of the ladder. So this is the one for me, the danger game for Flinders Uni, because they're sitting in sixth, still trying to get into that 5. We're keeping an eye on them throughout the season, and this is a really big game for Flinders Uni. Can they push Ingle Farm, because it is at Flinders University as well, is at the equaliser. Hackham 7th play O'Sullivan's Beach Lonsdale 3rd. Well, O'Sullivan's Beach Lonsdale, haven't they really come out of the blocks this year? Anthony Bernhardt and the rest of the committee down there, fantastic job. Congratulations to them. They look like they're going to be playing finals. They need to hang in there. Once again, a danger game with Hackham, because that is away at Hackham. Houghton and Mitchell Park. Well, 4th versus 5th. Is this the game of the round? There's 2 or 3 really ripping games in here at the moment. Keep an eye on them. That's up at Houghton. Great little oval up there. We went up there through the week, so we'll cover that in a moment. And of course, Mawson Lakes versus Para Hills, 8th versus 2nd. So Para Hills expected to keep along their winning ways. Our goal scorers, well, this will be the interesting one. We've got Phil Herden in tonight, and we might cover this down the track. Who will be the first player? Will they get to 100 goals? He's 21 off with still 5 rounds to go. So Daniel Wheatra from Para Hills is leading on 79. Next best, Terrell Rigney, who's not out of it. He's on 46, which is very good. Austin Worst on 40, and Bradley Sanderson at Ingle Farm on 37. Austin Worst, of course, at O'Sullivan's Beach Lonsdale. Remembering he's on 40, Trevor Rigney is also up there. He's in the top 6. He's on 33. So a good little battle there of the forwards, or are they sharing the load, let's say. Anthony Jenkinson from Mawson Lakes has played 13 and been in their better players 9 times. Luke Allen from Hackham has played 12, been in their best players 9 times. Matthew Tassel, Mitchell Park, played 12, been in their best 9. Ryan O'Leary at Hackham, played 12, been in their best 9. I tell you what, there's one more. Harrison Kaysler, O'Sullivan's Beach Lonsdale, played 11, been in their best 9. So a mighty effort. So if you're a coach out there looking at who you might target on the opposition, there's a couple of names there we might have just given away. Folks, it has been sensational. Division 7, we'll get one more go at it later on in the season, have a bit more in-depth look. But I'll tell you what we did do. We said we were going to do it, get out to a couple more clubs. Went out to Houghton last week. Could not be more welcoming up there. As I said, got through the hills, got through the wind and the rain, and what a fun bunch of blokes they were. They're all on the sideline watching all the interviews and so on. They had a bit of kick to kick. So we've got some background footage as well as our interview with the coach, KB. Please enjoy. Well, Division 7, C-Max Division 7 it is. Houghton Raiders coach KB, Kyron, or KB we say, has joined me. First of all, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
I like the KB, there's a bit of Kevin Bartlett in that as well. Mate, you're getting a few wins on the board, so how are you finding the season so far?
Yeah, it's been good. We started off with a bang early in the year and then won the games that we should, and then obviously struggled a little bit with a couple of games up here, which is a shock to us. But got it back on track over the last couple of weeks, so we've had some good wins, and the boys are really starting to buy in, so it's great.
Do you find it's a little bit of a secret up here? I love coming up here. I ride through the hills in summer and come up here, been up here playing, coaching and so on. I love it up here at Houghton, but do you find it's a little bit of a home fortress, if you like, for other clubs having to travel here?
Yeah, it is. A lot of people don't realise how close it is actually to Teacher Gully and stuff like that. But yeah, 5 minutes up the hill and you come into this little amphitheatre where a lot of people don't like to come, especially if it's foggy and cold. But you only need like 50 to 60 people on the hill and all of a sudden it's really noisy. So it's a great place to play.
No, fantastic, mate. 5 rounds to go by the time this goes there. The boys are keen as anything out here. They don't worry about the cold and the wet. They just say, yeah, let's get up here and train. What's the focus in the last 5 rounds?
Yeah, so the focus for us is obviously we go week by week, which is old cliche, but it's how we roll. But we definitely are aiming for a top 3 spot. Massive game on the weekend against Lonsdale, equal 3rd spot. So if we can get up and about on the weekend, it definitely helps us towards the end of the season.
Tell us about your training, the numbers. I believe there's a couple just dwindled off with the cooler weather, but you're heading into finals. You'd expect everyone out here pushing for a spot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The spots in the A grade are like hen's teeth. It's really hard to get. Good. So yeah, we did drop off over the last couple of weeks. It got really, really cold, so you do see that. But like everyone, there's been a bit of sickness and injury, so we've dealt with that. But the buy-in's been big and the numbers are getting bigger. So obviously, if we make finals, you know what it's like. All of a sudden, we'll have 80 on the track and everybody wants a gig. So,
and that's great to hear because your depth, it's so important. You know, you can have your people talk about your 21, but you almost got to have half a B grade full of blokes wanting to push up and get into the A grade for your depth. Tell us about, I guess, your squad. I came up and I was a bit surprised, you know, is it homegrown, are we up here? But we're only a couple of kilometres from Teacher Gully. Where do the players come from?
Yeah, I'd say 80% of the guys are from the northeastern area, so we're pretty lucky like that. We've had a fair influx lately over from some other clubs down the hill. I have enjoyed seeing them come up here and they love it. We really try to breed a culture of everyone's available and everyone's involved. So we've got the 3 grades and we never have any dramas filling the 3 grades, which is a pretty massive achievement for a little club up the hill. But it's testament to what we're trying to do up here and trying to get people to enjoy their footy.
Well, let me tell you, KB, you would be the envy of several clubs out there to have 3 clubs up here. As I say, don't worry about the distance. Football's football. And I walked in the rooms there before. It's funny, I said to the guy, where's the toilet? And he said, just out there. And he pointed me outside. I thought, surely not. But I know there's new club rooms. But
absolutely.
I found them in the end. But the guys in there were so appreciative for us to come up here. And we interviewed young Caleb with his kick on the weekend and things like that. So it's one of those clubs you want to be a part of.
Yeah.
For sure. Tell us about your squad. So I often say less than 50 games or 22 and under. 22 to 27 is mid-career and then 28 plus veterans.
Yeah, so we are definitely a younger brigade. I think we're averaging around the 23 to 24-year-old mark at the moment, but just with a nice sprinkling of veterans through there and some serious mid-game career guys as well. So I feel like it's a really good group to have. Lots of opportunities to build as well. So yeah, it's really, really cool.
All right, yourself. Take us through your background. Are you an old boy from here? Did you just wander in and said, I want to coach a club somewhere, or what's your background?
Nah, so past player, came here in 06. Got picked up at a 21st birthday party, so I hadn't played footy for a while and got asked to come out to train and played. So I played reserves and A grade up here for a bit. Around 120 game mark now over a very long time, but that's how it is. Started the C grade about 5 years ago. Coached that for 3 years. And then I coached the reserves last year and got the opportunity to step up and take the senior role this year, which I've been super excited about. So,
and you are doing a great job, as we said, 3rd on the ladder currently. Tell us about Division 7. I'm the Division 7 specialist and I see it, Ingle Farm, Para Hills, and then there's a whole raft of teams fighting out for the next couple of spots. And just tell us what it's like. There's no easy game, is there?
Nah, not one single game is easy. This competition is so even. It's interesting. We always say Division 7 is super hard to get out of, and you've got some players who are seriously elite. Like there's guys out there like who play for other clubs, and they've been at that club for a while, but they could go and get some big money somewhere else. But they play for their club, and you see that. So on any given Saturday, anyone can kind of win. So it's a super tough division.
Well, KB, it's been fantastic to, I guess, enlighten us on what happens up here at Houghton. A few of the boys in the background wanting to get their heads on camera, so we'll do a bit of filming as well. Mate, I can't believe you're wearing Crocs in this. There's not a blade of grass out here, folks, and you're wandering around in Crocs, so magnificent effort. We're going to give you a pair of Archie songs so you can get rid of the Crocs and put the Archie songs on. And also for yourself, the Dartfish beanie.
That'll come in handy.
Fantastic up here, mate. Thank you so much. As I said, you're a champion, mate, for enlightening us on what happens up here at Houghton.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us on.
Thank you.
This week we've got Indy's analytics again, but not just my analytics, but our analytics, I should say, because Tony and I commentated the same game this weekend. We went to Sacred Heart to see them take on the Old Ignatians Football Club, and I'll say something, Old Iggy's put together one of their more impressive performances of the year, in my opinion. Yes, it was their lowest score for the year, but they also conceded their lowest score of the year, showing a lot more defensive play and a much more competitive edge in the midfield, Tony.
Yeah, I think the thing that I noticed out of Old Iggy's, I know Sacred Heart are flying at the moment, but these can be danger games, and Old Iggy's came prepared. I went down to check the names and numbers in the rooms prior to the game, and love giving the viewers a bit of an insight, and they were really well prepared. The coach was talking really well to them. They had music on. When they ran out, you could feel it in the air. They were on, and they wanted to present a great game up against Sacred Heart. And I'll tell you what, Old Iggy's from the start to the end of the game were very impressive on their day. I talk about the 50-50s, I talk about the ball ups, and I talk about the clearances. They kept themselves in the battle very well.
Yeah, absolutely. They ticked a lot of boxes in the defensive aspects of the game as well as the on-ball aspects. I think the main area of improvement for this upcoming match against St. Peter's this weekend, they want to look at tidying up some of those forward entries. They went with a lot of long bombs, which are made extra hard in the wet weather. So whether they want to go with the more chaotic entries that roll across the ground and keep the defenders running, or peel off with some of those clever one-on-one handouts as well, they'll have to decide on one of those two, or maybe even a mixture of the options. Either way, I think it'll be the forward line will be the main focus of this next game for Old Iggy's.
Well, of course, we saw both teams. It started out quite dry. It was a beautiful deck after what we'd seen in recent weeks with some of the teams. Fantastic deck down there, and hats off to the curators at Sacred Heart at the senior school. So it's fantastic to see that. Of course, then it became wet. The centre was still quite firm, but it was wet in and around the boundary areas and so on. So it became slippery like a piece of soap, if you like. But both teams then had to change on the fly. You go from being a dry weather team to a wet weather team. And as I said, to Old Iggy's credit, they didn't just throw the towel in, so to speak. They kept at it. Sacred Heart manufactured goals. You had to find ways to get the goals. The best on ground there with the long sleeves, smartest man on the ground. Came out with long sleeves at the start, so he got best on ground. What was his name? Number 4 there, Seb
Kerish.
That's it, yeah, Seb Kerish. So he played a great game in the wet on the left foot. But the other one I admired was Kennedy for Old Iggy's, who normally plays in the back line when we see them play. And he played on ball and played a very important role for Old Ignatians on the weekend. I like to see that from the coach, where they can throw things around and try things. And I thought very well coached, to be honest. And it was a credit to that player and to the rest of the team about how they went about it in what is becoming a pretty difficult year for some of the teams.
Yeah, we were very happy to give Kennedy the beanie and thongs after the game. We know he was from the losing team, but he definitely deserved it for his valiant efforts out there orchestrating the defence. But those are our analytics for this week. Thank you for joining me and Tony, and we look forward to bringing you more coverage, whether it's myself or with another guest feature in the future. More Indies Analytics.
Well, good day, footy fans. My name is Ferber Herden, and thanks to O'Neill Sportswear, welcome to the Women's Wrap where we look at all the results, ladders and upcoming games in women's footy across the Adelaide Footy League from Saturday, July 22nd. First division to look at is the Villiers Bakery Division 6. And here, Ingle Farm put up a fight against Golden Grove, going down by just 9 points. Athelston 10-goal winners over Marion. Goody Saints easy against Mitchell Park, and Tea Tree Gully won on a forfeit against Flinders Park. The ladder top 4 is set at the end of round 12, just 2 rounds left. Athelston on top, but could be toppled maybe by Tea Tree Gully. Golden Grove and Marion look set for a first semi-final encounter. The games next week in Division 6, well, it is top 4 versus bottom 4. So the top 4 will get some finals warm-ups here. Mitchell Park hosts Tea Tree Gully. Goodwood Saints host Marion. Flinders Park hosts Golden Grove. And Athelston host Ingle Park late at Max Andrews Sportsfield. In the Powerade Division 5, again, the Elizabeth result, suspect it's a forfeit. Not quite sure how they're being worked out at the moment. North Haven kept Woodville South goalless to win by just 1 solitary goal, 6 points. Modbury held Salisbury North scoreless, and Kilburn and Loretto played a cracker, Kilburn getting up by 6 points. Now this ladder, Division 5 Powerade, maybe Edwardstown with the win, bleak Kilburn, but suffice to say it's still a race in 6 for 4 finals berths. This division has 3 weekends left, but Modbury on top for the moment. From Woodville South, North Haven, Loretto, all on 7 wins. Kilburn 6. I suspect Edwardstown 6.5. It hasn't been recorded yet. So it's better. The games, Elizabeth, will it be a game against Woodville South? Time will tell. Loretto against Salisbury North. But the big ones are Kilburn and Edwardstown. That's 5th versus 6th. The loser will struggle to play finals. Modbury and North Haven. The loser of that become vulnerable to the winner of that Kilburn Edwardstown clash in the Powerade Division 5. Nearmouth Mouthguards, they support the Division 4 competition with Scotch beat Fitzroy on the road by 19 points. It was Hectorville by 2 goals over Flinders Park. West Croydon went bang over Greenacres by 95 points, and Mitcham down at Lockleys by 26. Our ladder has Hectorville on top from Eastern Park. They look likely to be the top 2 in the second semi. 3 teams, the last 2 spots, Scotch, Lockleys and Mitcham. West Croydon are out of contention with Uxbridge by. It's interesting here, Eastern Park host Lockleys 2nd versus 4. If Lockleys go down, they could be replaced by Mitcham, who have Greenacres this week. Should get the win and a percentage boost. Hectorville and Scotch, well, that's 1 versus 3. Fitzroy and West Croydon is 6 versus 7. That's the Mouthguards Division 4. On to 9 News Division 3, just the 3 games played. One of them was a draw. Chepps Cross and Pembroke, 2-2 to 2-2. Salisbury beat Kenilworth by 10 goals, and 1 point the difference between Flinders Park and Hope Valley. The Park's getting up. Pulteney with the bye. That has some ladder ramifications, which means Pembroke have taken over league leadership from Hope Valley. Flinders Park now just a game behind and a fair deal of percentage. Pulteney sitting there a game further back. In fact, Flinders Park are just percentage behind that. It's the 4 is settled, but the positioning in the 4 is still to be worked out. Pulteney versus Pembroke, 4th versus 1st, to start to separate things with 3 rounds remaining, or really, really tighten everything up in the 9th Division 3. It's Pulteney and Pembroke, Flinders Park and Salisbury, Kenilworth and the Uni are taking on Chepps Cross, and Hope Valley will be spectating. To Division 2, Goody Saints had the bye, Westminster over Brighton by a forfeit. Elsewhere, it was Golden Grove over Angle Vale that might just have done our season, and Tea Tree Gully over David by. The ladder in Division 2, Tea Tree Gully leading the way for Goody Saints, Golden Grove in 3rd. Might have a shot at 2nd. They can pull something out because there's just 2 rounds left. Westminster are in the 5 now. They play Angle Vale this week. Angle Vale need a miracle. 2 wins, 2 Westminster losses, and catching up 16 and a bit percent. Unlike Gazer and Brighton are definitely out of the running. Tea Tree Gully have the bye this week in Division 2. The other in the top three play the bottom three. Anglevale, Westminster could sort out without any doubt the top four in Division 2. On to Division 1, the reserve smosh over Adelaide Uni, moving back into the 4. Payneham Norwood Union easy over Old Nations. And Broadview had a close one over Henley by 3 points. Happy Valley and Northwood Park had not to watch. What that means is Smosh West Lakes overtook a Happy Valley spot and Broadview overtook Northwood Park for 4th and 7th respectively. And Henley, their chance of playing finals. In terms of Division 1 itself, Smosh kept their season alive, just 17 points over Adelaide Uni. Payneham probably got a bit more of a contest than they expected, but prevailed by 11 over Old Nations. Broadview also had it tough against Henley, but prevailed by 9 points against Happy Valley, Morphettville Park. The ladder in Division 1, Broadview 10-1. Payneham and Norwood Union, Morphettville Park's just a game back, ready to pounce. And then it's 3 games back to Henley and a further 3 games back to Smosh. There's 3 games left in the minor round. It will take a miracle for Smosh to get to the final. Adelaide Uni, Old Nations and Happy Valley cannot play final. The round 12 fixture, there's 3 rounds to go in Division 1. Broadview and Smosh got the league leadership to go down Smosh's season there. Payneham, Norwood Union and Happy Valley, of course, likely the last start winners. See if they can snag the upset. And Morphettville Park and Adelaide Uni can lead Old Nations. Next Saturday. So that's a wrap on all the women's competition scores, ladders and upcoming games. Thanks to Open Sportswear for their support. Thank you for watching. Until next week, hope you enjoy your footy.
And welcome everyone to this week's Division 4 wrap. Last time I spoke to you was the mid-season wrap, where we looked at the halfway mark of the season, where we're going. And I talked about how Division 4 was the most closest run premiership table out of the whole divisions. And it's still that way. I have a special guest with me tonight, Peter Diamondopoulos, coach of the Kenilworth Football Club. I'll come to you in a moment, Peter. I just want to do the wrap of the premiership table and some key facts before we get started. So we're now after 13 rounds. We've got 2 sides clearly on top, being Paraka and Seabock, or Christian Brothers Old Collegians. After 13 games, 10-3 each, only separated by less than 1% in percentage. We've got 2 teams at the bottom of the table. We've got Portland, who haven't won a game, and we've got Mitcham on 8 points, who have won 4 games. And then we've got 6 clubs in the middle of the table who are separated by 3 points. And 3 points because there was a draw on the weekend, which I'll get to in a moment. Plympton, 15 points, 7 wins, 5 and a draw. Lockleys, Morphy Parks, Hectorville, all on 14 points, only separated by percentage. Walkerville, the other person with a draw on the weekend, 13 points, 6 and 6 and the 1 draw. And then we have Kenilworth sitting in 8th position with 6 wins and 7 losses, but 1 win away from 4th position, Peter. That's how close the competition is at this moment. On the weekend, we had a couple of upsets. Let's talk about this. Mitcham sitting 9th, upset the 4th side Lockleys. Hectorville sitting 6th on the table, upset the top side, Paraka. And of course, Plympton and Walkerville, 3rd versus 7th. That middle of the table I'm talking about had a draw on the weekend. And that 1 point could be pivotal when it comes to the end of the season of who plays finals and who doesn't. Just quickly around the grounds, the goal kickers at this stage of Division 4, we've got Brett Simpson from Seabock on 41 goals. 6 goals clear of James Boston from Walkerville on 35. Same as Ben Harron, Lockleys 35, and Adam Proud, Walkerville 34. And a couple of the players that are playing really well and consistently throughout the year that I've seen through the app is simply Bowen Hosking at Lockleys and Daniel Fairbrother from Hectorville, who are up amongst the best players at this stage. Peter, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I'd like to find out a little bit about you. But first things first, Paraka and Seabock. Are they that good that they're 3 games clear of everyone else?
They both start very strong. They're very good starters. I think Seabock have only lost 1 first quarter. We did a bit of analysis on them, so they've only lost 1 first quarter so far, so they're really strong out of the blocks. Ben, obviously, if you don't really stay up with them too long or keep up with them early on, that's where we that's where we finished on the weekend. We gave them a 6-goal head start, and that was pretty much the final score. So, unfortunately, that's where they're at. And Paraka, they're quite well structured around the ground and with their stoppage work, obviously with Matty Rankin and Ronnie there as well. So they're quite strong around the ball and have some really polished ball users as well up forward. So that's where I think they're at. And yeah, I think they're probably the two teams of the comp for that reason as well. So
you talked about their fast start. So they got away to a 6-goal, 1 first quarter.
Correct.
Jump on you guys on the weekend. 10 goals to 2 goals at half time. But you outscored them in the second half.
We did. So I think it was 3 goals 6 to 2 goals 2. So again, it shows that we are capable, I think, of mixing it with the best. And obviously, probably the conditions helped that as well a little bit, because it started bucketing with rain halfway through that second quarter. But it's something that we're working on as a group, is getting our starts right. And there's been weeks where we matched Paraka in the first quarter when we played them a couple of weeks ago, and unfortunately then fell away. So I know our group can do it, and it's showing that we can do it. But yeah, unfortunately, if we don't start well, I think like any team in playing footy is you're going to be behind and chasing your tail.
4-quarter game.
Correct.
That's correct. All right, Peter, very quickly, personally, can you tell us the Peter Diamondopoulos story and how you became connected with Kenilworth?
Yeah, so been playing there since I was 4 years old, playing under 9. So I've played all my junior footy at Kenilworth. So obviously really strongly established through there, and then transitioned into senior footy, where I won a couple of A-grade flags with the club in 2011 and 2013. And then, went from there. When I was about 18, I started coaching the inclusive side and wanted to give back in the way of coaching and helping around the footy club. And then from there, coached them for 7 years, which is one of the most, I think that's a really big highlight of my coaching so far, is coaching them. It's really fun. It was really, really good time. And then while coaching them, was part of the state inclusive side. So went away on multiple national carnivals with them as the state assistant coach, and just kept developing from there. Coached our first junior girls side, the under 13s that we first started 7, 8 years ago now. Did some Auskicking coaching and coordinating there, and along with the under 8s. So it's been pretty full on at Kenilworth, and then I went away to Kangarilla for a year and coached their senior colts, and then ended up at Spot for the last 3 years as a B-grade assistant and an A-grade assistant under Jeff Riddle there in the team there.
And were you recruited back to Kenilworth, or did you have to apply to get you back to the club?
Yeah, applied for the job.
Applied for the job, and I would have thought with all those accolades of how well you're invested in the club, it would have been an easy decision to bring you back.
Oh, it's not always an easy decision, I guess, but obviously I did something right in the interview process and showed that I had something that I could give back to the footy club to help them develop and go forward as a club as a whole. So that's what we're trying to do.
That's a fantastic story. It's great to know those things about you. On the footy side, though, a 2-year deal at Kenilworth as senior coach?
It was 1, and then we've extended and gone on to the next year. Yeah.
Okay, a 1-year deal and now extended to 2. So if you're without writing off this season so far, I just want to ask you the question: have you already identified the gaps and strengths you need to work on?
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Always looking at.
You're not going to tell us what they are, are you?
Nah, try not to, but always every week trying to get ourselves better as a group and trying to work on key areas. Obviously watching the footage that we can and doing reviews and things like that every Tuesday night, and then going out and training that as best as we can, and trying to implement obviously what we can come Saturday, and try and watch Oppo as well as best as we can. So
can you just quickly tell me how many nights a week do you train, and what's your involvement at the club, and do you ever get away from the club?
Not at the moment, unfortunately. We train just twice, Tuesday, Thursday. Yep. The women's at the moment have got 2 of the players coaching them, so I go out on Monday nights just to give them a bit of extra support. So try and help out. So after here, I'll go to the women's training and give them a hand for a bit, and then just help out wherever I can, obviously, and just try and make the club better again, and be a sounding board for anyone or any coaches at the footy club as best as I can as well.
Fantastic. So. And do you pull the boots on at any stage?
Yeah. So
you're still playing?
I wouldn't say playing, but played a few A-grade games this year to fill a gap. We're a bit short on big men, unfortunately, so I just have played a couple of games to get us through with the big man department, but playing C grade where I can as well, or every week to help out the C grade, and then go into coaching from there.
You are doing everything. Yeah. What's your preference? Obviously, coaching off field.
Yeah, I think it's a lot better. It's easier to see everything, but I did really enjoy the few games I did play on the ground and getting in amongst it with the boys is really good. So yeah.
You need to help them out going forward. So this week a big game, obviously.
Massive.
So as I said, Kenilworth supposedly on the table sitting 8th, but very close. But you're playing Mitcham, finished 9th, who had that really good win on the weekend over Lockleys. Anything different for this week?
Not so much. I think the last time we played Mitcham, we were really good at our contested footy, and I think that's going to be a massive focus for us again, is winning the contested ball, where obviously the game starts and is like I said, won. I think Mitcham has set up quite well, to be fair. They set up well, and we noticed they gave us a bit of a challenge for a good quarter, 2 quarters last time we played them. So then by being able to break them down at contests and going hard there was what we focused on really, and then obviously getting the win for us was really good. So that's again probably the focus, and just again 4-quarter performance, we try and break it down as best as we can, quarter by quarter, and reassess every break and just go from there. Try and keep footy as basic as we can as well.
Every game's important, right?
Massive, yeah.
Heading through to the last 5 games, or 6 games of the season, including this one. Get away to Mitcham, you play Portland last round.
Correct.
So we get away with that one, but then you've got a couple of the top sides in the middle there thrown in as well. So
got Morphees and then Plimpton and Lockleys as well. So that's a massive few weeks for us as a club. Again, we try and break down 3-week blocks. So we're in the middle of a 3-week block at the moment. So we try and just focus on those 3 and see what we want to achieve out of that, and put some KPIs as a group together. And it's really player driven, and it's them then holding themselves accountable to those as well, and seeing where we can go from there. So.
Fantastic. A couple of players at your club who you know have had some milestones recently in the last month.
Yep. So Carl, played his 200th game out at Paraka. Again, played a lot of footy with Carl, A grade, B grader, throughout his time here at the footy club. Really good guy, really funny bloke as well. So really good, happy for him to play his 200th game for the club. And then Daniel Deloya, old Buddha, premiership player, teammate in the 2 A grade flags that I played in. So a good mate of mine. So really have some good moments with him. Unfortunately, I wanted to play with him, but it was just a bit too hard to play B grade and then try and get ready for the A grade as well. So, but really good stalwarts of the footy club, and good players in their own rights as well.
Oh, fantastic. Carl Bader and Daniel Deloya, fantastic there. Look, Peter, I think we've come to the end. The round 4, Division 4 wrap. I'm really looking forward to this with regards to watching how it unfolds. With every week, the games are just so important. The old 4-point game adage, as we say. But we'll wrap it up there. With regards to, on behalf of Filming Footy, I'd like to present you with the Dartfish beanie, to keep you warm.
Very much.
And of course the Archies, which are ever most popular from everyone going around.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
I look forward to seeing how Kenilworth go forward in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure
Cheers.
meeting you. See you later.
Thank you.
Another busy week for those on the field always means a busy week for those off the field and around the league, Tony. What have we got going on around the league this time around?
Well, 9 News Live with Tom Wren went out to Smosh Westlakes last Thursday. Our Powerade ambassador, and I've met this gentleman, fantastic young man, Simon Ebenezer. Simon truly carries the Smosh Westlakes Footy Club off the field. Not only does he take on arguably the 2 most important committee positions, head of footy operations and head of sponsorship, but he's always helping out with the other small jobs around the club, including helping out on match day, scoring, umpiring, strapping, assisting the juniors, does the barbecue, helps with the raffles and events. He does all of this unpaid. Where would we be without our volunteers, eh? And the club simply wouldn't function without his contribution. Thanks to Powerade Australia.
Of course, we once again had our 5AA kick for cash contestants, Julia Watson and Adam Marnie this time around. They each had a kick to try and win $1,000.
And
Unfortunately, neither of them were able to do it. I reckon Tony and I are going to have to start a workshop for kicking practice so we can get these contestants over the line. We're always keeping our fingers crossed for every old and new contestant that features. And of course, thanks to the Police Credit Union for the $500 cheque that was given to the Smosh West Lakes Footy Club.
yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much. And along with that, we'd like to thank all the sponsors that support the wonderful campaign. 9 News Adelaide, Police Credit Union, Villies Bakeries, SA Gourmet Meats, West End, Powerade and 5AA. The crew will be back on Thursday night at Mawson Lakes Footy Club.
This time around, our round 12 West End Player of the Week winner went to Division 3 Modbury Footy Club, who has won a carton of West End Draft. Collection details are on Facebook. Head over to the Adelaide Footy League Facebook page to vote for the round 13 nominations. You can vote Division 1 Prince Alfred Old Collegians, Division 5 Reserves Kilburn, and from round 12 Women's Division 4. Thank you to Lion Brewery.
Tom Wren is on the ground, teaming up with the Adelaide Footy League for Thursday Night Live. 9 News in the Adelaide Footy League, strengthening communities through footy.
It's time to take a look at our Mark of the Week winner as well as our Goal of the Week winner. We've got a plethora from last week's hard drive that we had to choose from, but who were the final winners, Tony?
Well, our goal winner, we couldn't go past him, could we? Caleb Maynard has won it from Houghton in Division 7, and the goal winner wins the ORTC $50 voucher. So congratulations, Caleb. Fantastic young man. He's on social media. He's had a few hits, and we've done the interview, and it just keeps happening for him. And our Mark, well, you and I, no, it wasn't you and I, it was myself and Nathan saw this. This is one of the most exciting young lads going around in Division 1 football. Jarman Segal from the Brighton Football Club. Fantastic mark it was too.
Yes, so congratulations to the winners for last week. And remember, you can always vote for the weekly winners yourself on the official Adelaide Footy League Facebook page by casting your respective emoji reaction.
The broadcast side. Nice kick out towards half back. Oh, big fly. Jarman Segal. Great mark.
Athlete, the competitor with the hunger to compete. I am for the one who wants to get in their opponent's grill. I am the one who brings you the science. I am Neomorph. I am your protector.
Well, thank you all for watching. We wouldn't be a show without you, our beautiful viewers out there. Thank you so much. Stay warm. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, and we'd like to thank our guests that came in for the interviews. A couple of more, Indy.
Yes, of course, and it was really nice to have them all featured tonight. Remember that you can always find us on social media, including our Filming Footy live streams on YouTube, the official Adelaide Footy League website, as well as, of course, the official Facebook page, plus many more alternative ways to get your footy fix on the Adelaide Footy League latest action. We thank you all for watching, and in the meantime, wherever you're kicking across the country, we hope they go between the posts.
I'm Tim Pillian, and you've been watching Between the Posts. Go back, Phil.